I want to share with you how I healed my two major phobias. I used to have a massive phobia to snakes and spiders. And especially the one to snakes, it was so big, so intense that I could not watch a snake on TV. I could not touch a toy that had a shape of a snake, that looked like a snake. The simple thought of seeing a snake would paralyze me, would terrify me. And with spiders, I think it was a little bit less intense, but it was still a phobia. Like if I would see a spider, I would scream and run. So they say that when you have a phobia, when you get to the root cause of that phobia, which most of the times comes from an experience that you had when you were a child, I think mainly because as a child, everything that you experience seems to be experienced for the first time, so it has a bigger impact on you. Also, you are in a more vulnerable state, so that's why it has a bigger impact on you. Also, your personality and everything about you gets formed when you're a child, mainly. But they say that when you realize the root cause of the phobia, it's 50% healed. So the first part was me getting to the root cause of that phobia, realizing what triggered it, when is it that it started. And with the snake phobia, I remember I was probably like 4, 5, 6 years old, and my grandparents were in the countryside, and my parents used to often go there to help them. They used to plant stuff in the field, they used to plant everything, and they used to have animals, so they used to farm basically. And they used to take me with them in the field. And one specific time they took me, I think they were planting potatoes or something like that, and they would normally put like this blanket down for me, and I would play with toys while they were doing the work. And we went to this river to wash our hands, and I remember as I was going down and I reached for the soil to reach for support, to put my hand down to reach for support, there was a snake there sleeping, and I touched that snake. Now, it didn't bite me or anything, but that just had such a massive impact on me. I remember just screaming and running, and I was so scared. And the phobia for spiders, I used to have this repeating dream. And the moment I couldn't tell what it was. Like, I used to wake up crying, and my mom would always ask me what were you dreaming about? And I could never tell her what it was because I couldn't figure out what it was. All I could say was, it's something small that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm scared of it. And the moment that recurrent dream stopped is the moment when I realized that it was actually a spider in my dream. And I remember one of my aunties, one day she was like, oh, do you want to come and stay over and sleep at my place, and we'll watch TV and have dinner and chill? And I was like, yeah. So I went to her place, my favorite auntie ever, maybe because I was so relaxed and felt so safe with her. I had that how do I put it, that moment of breakthrough. Yes, it was a breakthrough. Maybe that's why I had that breakthrough while I was at her place, because I felt so safe with her and so comfortable. So everything went fine. We went to bed. I fell asleep, and then I was waking up. I was in between dream and being awake. What woke me up was sounds that I could hear in the room, and it was sounds of drawers being open and closed. And I remember waking up and I saw my auntie. She was looking through the drawers for medicine because I had fever and I was delirating. And as I woke up from that dream, I realized what was going on around me, I also instantly it hit me. I realized what it was that I was dreaming about. It was the same recurring dream, and it was a spider. It was a small spider growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And after that, I never had that dream again. So I still had my phobia to these creatures, to the snake and the spider. And what really helped me was, first of all, was a moment when I decided I want to work on these phobias. I want to heal these phobias. That was the next most major and important step. And I thought, how do I start? Because I started by trying to figure out the root cause, and I did. And then I was like, okay, what's the next step? And what I started to do, I was kind of like at the beginning in my spiritual awakening, one of my first spiritual awakenings, because there's many. I was tapping more into the spiritual side of life, and I decided to look at the spiritual meaning of these creatures, the snake and the spider. And the more I've learned about them, the more my fear started to dissolve. So when I learned that, the snakes represent wisdom and they represent healing, and when I looked at the spiritual side of spiders, how they represent creativity and patience, the more I learned about them, the more my fear started to dissolve slowly. Now I'm friends with spiders. Like, I find them cute. And it's such a major transformation from going to fearing spiders at such a level to being friends with them. And I look at them and I admire them and I have respect for them. I live with spiders. If I find spiders in my home, I'm cool with them. Sometimes if they're too many, and sometimes they're like really big ones, I might just take them and release them outside gently. But I no longer fear them at all. I like my entire perception, my entire view towards them changed. I look at them and I feel I want to care for them. I want to nurture them. I want to take care of them. With snakes, I think one last step that I have to take when it comes to snake is actually have another encounter with a snake where I get to touch the snake, to like physically interact with the snake. That will be the last step that I need to take in order to fully complete this cycle of healing with my phobia to snakes. But now I'm at a point where I'm fascinated by the energy that the snakes hold and all the things that they have to teach us. They're magical, magnetic beings to me now, and I never would have thought that I would get to this point to feel this way. But I'm living proof that it's possible, and this is what has helped me. So I'm hoping that by doing this video will inspire other people to try this path. It might not work for everybody because we're all different, but this is really what worked for me. And even if this helps 2, 3, 5, 10 people, even if it's just one person, this will be worth it, me taking the time to make this video. This is what helped me. I really hope that it works for you guys as well. Let me know in the comments what your phobias are, and if you try this, let me know how that worked for you. I would love to hear your stories about healing your phobias, your fears. I'm sending you guys much love. I love you all.